3 years after her death, the mother returns to the human world. Overwhelmed, she rushes to hug the daughter she's missed so deeply, but instead, she passes right through her.
맞다. 맞네. 나 귀신이다 그래.
Mary earned 3 days back on Earth as a reward for winning a contest in heaven. The only thing she still cared about in the world was her daughter, so the guide brought her straight to Pearl. But when she arrived, she froze in place. Her daughter had been living in the US. Why was she suddenly back in their old shack? Just as Mary was filled with confusion, Pearl stepped out of the house. Mary could barely contain her excitement, but she quickly realized she couldn't touch her. After giving her a few instructions, the guide vanished. Desperate to know why Pearl had come back, Mary had no choice but to observe quietly. To her surprise, Pearl, who never did housework before, was now fixing a broken chair. Then 2 strangers arrive. Turns out Pearl had inherited Mary's old store. Watching her daughter handle everything so smoothly left Mary stunned. Soon a full farmhouse meal was laid out. Then Pearl started roasting coffee beans. Mary realized it was the same old stove she had built herself. Back then, she couldn't wait to call her daughter, begging her to come home to grill meat together on that stove. But Pearl just brushed her off and hung up. Mary snapped out of her memories to see Pearl sipping rich coffee, sitting quietly on the porch. Mary couldn't stand it anymore. Back then, Pearl had hated being home. Now she was here, suffering. Mary stayed by her side all day. Even when Pearl fell asleep, she didn't leave her for a second. But late at night, Pearl suddenly woke up, panting heavily. She jumped out of bed, ran all the way to the riverbank, screaming into the night. Seeing her daughter break down like that, Mary finally realized Pearl was not okay. The next day, Mary followed her to the hospital. Only then did she learn Pearl was battling depression, and it all started because of her.
날 왜 버렸을까? 어머니의 날 왜 버렸을까? 그런 생각.
Hearing those words, Mary was hit with a wave of regret. The memories came flooding back. When Pearl was a child, struggling to make ends meet, left her with her younger brother. She never knew. That decision haunted Pearl all these years. After leaving the hospital, Pearl forced a smile as usual, then headed to the station to pick up an old friend. But on their way home, they were stopped by angry villagers, shouting that Pearl had refused to move out and was blocking the golf course construction. They claimed the project would bring in way more money than farming ever could. But despite their rage, Pearl stayed calm, like she'd been through this 100 times before. After calming the crowd, her friend noticed her medical records. Pearl just smiled.
벌 주는 거야 나한테. 벌을 준다고? 어? 내가 엄마 임종이라도 지켰으면 여기서 이러고 있지도 않아.
Her mother's death was the knot she couldn't untie. They had fought, and Pearl left for America. The day Mary passed, Pearl didn't make it back in time to say goodbye. And because everyone waited for Pearl to return, her mother's burial was delayed until late at night.